All right, so you are my sales partner.
Yes.
On my team.
Yes.
Okay. And so anybody that wants to get into wholesaling, which we're teaching right now, and we're bringing in Will, Janelle, all of our people that want to be our partners and learn exactly what I do, right? To be a wholesaler, okay, if you want to be a wholesaler, which is the easiest way to get into real estate. And why is it easy to get into real estate as a wholesaler?
Because you don't have to have your real estate license.
No license, and it's actually an advantage not to be a broker. Because what happens when you're a broker?
People try to, you know, have the MLS violations. They want to figure out if everything you're doing is legal. Brokers get involved.
So if you're going to be off market and you're going to be a broker, I got a fine 25 years ago for the few years that I was a broker because I wrote an offer to a property that was not listed, but it became listed from the time I mailed it until they received it. How the fuck would I know that?
Yeah.
And I'm talking, I'm so old, this before the internet. So it wasn't like you could actually go type the address and see that Janelle had just listed it. So first, easy to entry. Anybody can learn to be an off-market wholesale bird dog. Okay? We can teach that. I can teach the entire process in about 90 days to get you to the point that you, in general, know everything you have to do. So if Janelle, we'll just use her initials, wants to be a wholesaler. Okay, and whether you're going to do this as a team, which we teach you how to scale it, or whether you're going to do it as a person, we've kind of started, we've gone through some lessons, which first you have to pick an area, right? And you have to pick a property type. Generally, you're trying to pick something that everybody else isn't fishing.
Right.
Want to go do sub-twos right now? There's 18 guys that have already called the guy who's losing his house.
Right.
Same with foreclosures, auctions, all that stuff. So pick an area, pick a property type that we teach, and at that point then, so that's step one. And you've got to get the data sets. We teach you how to pull the data, right? So when I started out, just go to Realist, pull the data, or you can go to tax records. Again, before computers, you had to do it the old school way, write down the addresses, find the owners. It was a lot of work. Now with AI and all this technology, you can do it really quick. At some point, you have to put together our magic secret sauce is the purchase and sale agreement. Okay? So you need to pull data, do research. At some point, you need to get something out to a seller. Our secret sauce, purchase and sale agreement.
That's right.
Unsolicited. 9 out of 10 people that respond to us respond in a positive manner that ours is the most professional, most thorough, most sincere proposal they've been contacted with. We do get the 10% that write us and use the F word in every other thing they write. Dude, smoke a bowl, chill, throw it in the garbage, right?
Yeah.
It's junk mail if you don't like it. Okay, so step one, getting data. Step two, purchase and sale agreement. Step three, acquisitions. Meaning at some point, you have to talk to owners. You have to learn how to talk to owners. You have to get a PSA out to a seller, and at some point, get it signed. This is the magic coaching that I teach you one-on-one. I help you with every single thing, don't I?
Yep.
To a fault. You're mad at me every day because I'm telling you what to do and how to do it.
He just knows too much.
I know exactly what's going to happen. I coach you at some point to get that in contract. Next step is, what do we got? Somebody says, yes, I'll sell you the property, and they actually sign a contract. We have to do a deal analysis, evaluation. Is it something we'd want to buy, something we'd want to bring in a partner on? Do you want to buy it yourself? How do you get the money? And then if we're going to wholesale it, right? Who? Which we then go into, and I hate the word dispositions. I don't know, Dennis has been running around saying it because he's read it all over the internet. I call it sales, okay? Disposition sounds like you got to take a shit or something. You got to go dispose of something. Dispositions is not a positive connotation word.
It's not.
No?
No.
Okay, I got to dispose of this. Right? Yeah. Versus, I call sales opportunity, right? Which I'm going to add value to someone else. I've added value to the seller by getting him his price and his terms. I've added value to the person who's going to buy it because they're buying it direct and hopefully they're going to make $100,000, $1 million over the next 10 years owning it or developing it or doing it, whatever. So then you have a sales program. Okay? And this is a complete loop of being an independent acquisition and sales wholesaler. Okay. Now, you start out and I can teach you. You're going to be on our team for a year or longer. It's a year-long program. But I'm teaching you all of these elements. And the details and intricacies, I can't even spell intricacies, but I'll say it if I can get it out of my mouth, of every part of this. Okay? And as we get to each step, as you're learning, there's subtle little 10, 20, 30 things you have to do in each division to be successful.
Yep.
Okay. Now you want to scale it. Will you want to scale this to 100,000 a month or $1 million a month business?
$1 million a month.
$1 million a month. So if you were going to scale this to $1 million a month, what do you got to do?
It's a numbers game.
You got to do more deals. More deals. Okay? If you simply did one deal a week at $20,000 a month, or $20,000 a deal, right? That's $1 million a year wholesaling business.
Yep.
If you get to 5 deals a week, a deal a day, that is $100,000 a week. You're at a $5 million business. You can keep going. 2 deals, or you get your number, the value of your assignments up. You start approaching a $10 million a year wholesaling business.
Yep.
Okay. To do that then, you repeat this process in multiple geographic areas with multiple partners. Then you start getting additional people to do the elements.
Yep.
So we have a research person that spends all day pulling the data, sorting the data, pricing it, sending out the offers electronically, right? Then we have lead gen people who are going to follow up with warm leads coming in.
Yep.
Cold calling the offers that we've sent, texting them, trying to contact them to generate leads. We then have acquisition partners such as yourself who take the leads and get daily coaching from me around the clock.
Yep.
I'm the deal freak. Have you noticed all I want to talk about is real estate?
Yeah, and you're always here.
Do I ever fucking ask you what you did on the weekend?
Nope.
I only care about real estate.
And there's no such things as weekends.
Yeah, don't talk to me about trivia shit, okay? I want to talk real estate 24/7. So, if you want my help and you want to do 10 deals a week, I'll help you do 10 deals a week. You got that, Will?
Yes, sir.
I know you got 18 kids, so you can't do it as much as me. I only got 1 kid. So, all right, and he's getting to the age where he doesn't want to be around me, but okay. So, I'm teaching every element. Now we're going to briefly talk about, you're helping me with sales right now.
Yes.
You're on my team as my sales partner, even though you're learning and doing everything. And I can put you on leads here, but we're focused on teaching sales.
Yes.
Okay. So, I sent you, I told you, go sell this property. We have the lowest priced home in Redmond. Right?
Yep.
So as a salesperson, you have gone and spent, if you were not the acquisition person, and I just walk in and say, Janelle, help me sell this.
Right.
You have to go through a process. So you're going to go to the folder, you're going to look at the PSA.
Yep.
Now you understand the language of PSA because I've taught you how to write purchase and sale agreements, the components of what we're trying to do. I'm always trying to teach you how to write marketable paper.
Yes.
Because the #1 goal of a wholesaler is to have marketable paper. Unmarketable paper is all cash, no inspection, closing in 10 days, which is what distressed people go do because that's attractive to someone who's facing foreclosure in 14 days.
Yes.
We're the opposite. We're writing marketable paper that's attractive to us or to other real estate investors. So you would go study the PSA. Oh, purchase price, earnest money, inspection. If you weren't the acquisition person, you'd have a conversation. Robert, it's owner occupied, right? Yep. Okay. What have they done in the upgrades? Ask that. You'd go to Google Earth. If we don't have the pictures, you'd drive around on Google Earth and look at the neighborhood real quick.
Yep.
You didn't spend 5 or 10 minutes looking at comps. So you could talk intelligently. You'd tend to spend 5 or 10 minutes, if you didn't know the neighborhood, looking at the parks, looking how close it is to the coffee shops. Okay? Then you might, if you were good at this, you'd pick up the phone and call 10 listed properties. Talk to the brokers. Okay?
Yeah, what would be some good questions to ask?
So, hey Sally, I see you got one in the same neighborhood. I got an off-market deal. I was just curious how traffic's been, what's feedback on that property. You know, do you have any buyers that just aren't right for that one, but perhaps are looking for something else? Okay. You're getting a vibe from brokers about what's going on in the neighborhood.
Okay.
You could have one that just sold across the street. You call the listing broker and go, wow, that went quick, went for $40,000 over ask. What was the traffic like? How many offers did you get, if you don't mind me asking? You know, was there a lot of interest? Not. By the way, I got one across the street, in case you have any buyers that weren't able to get that one. And that's the lead-in question of this role is, you know, I'm expecting you to sit there 8, 10, 12, 14 hours a day, putting frequencies out in the universe, because the challenge with off-market properties, it doesn't go in a Northwest multiple listing database, so no one knows it's available.
Right, yeah.
Okay? So let's say I said do a broker blast, which you did, and somebody calls back and they say, hi, I'm Janelle. What's up? I got this off-market thing. What's going on with it? Right? If I were the person doing your role at that moment, I'd be saying, great, Janelle, thanks for calling. Looks like you've been you're a broker in the area. Looks like you probably have sold something recently. I'm currently reaching out for an off-market property I have, right? And you're simply going to say quickly, I don't know if you do off-market. You know, I know we work with a lot of brokers every day, probably work with 10 brokers a month to do deals with us. Just for a second, give me a second to explain where it is, how much it is, and then perhaps you might have a client.
Okay.
That's really how I get there. Then I politely say, you know, I work for a company that buys a handful of properties a month, and we wholesale a handful of properties. We're comfortable working with brokers. We love working with brokers. That's my job.
Yep.
And you're being very casual about it, but you're also just putting it out there. The other thing when you're talking to brokers is, you know, brokers want to know, they want to know either you're a buyer, a seller, or is there anything you're doing that can help their business?
Yeah.
Which a good lead-in is, hey, you know, we wholesale 100 properties a year. What are you having trouble getting? Do you have any clients looking for anything right now that you can't get them?
Yeah, and something that you can also do, this is thinking a little bit outside the box, but because we talk to so many people and other people that do wholesale as well, sometimes that we can match them up with other people that may have something in their inventory. So just being of value in that way as well.
Sure, yeah, without question. Asking you to go talk to the brokers, doing the broker connections it does come with a little bit of a rub, because traditionally most brokers don't want to look off market.
Yeah.
And so you just got to have a thick skin. You know, people have done this in the role before. They just, you know, I don't say you're not an ass, but you don't take any shit either.
Yeah, no, I
Which is, hey, I'm just throwing it out there. We got an off-market deal. I got a house that's probably we get listed for 150, 200,000 more than we have it. Just seeing if you have a buyer. Most buyers in this neighborhood are represented by brokers. I don't have any way to share this with you other than contacting you directly.
Okay.
And they'll be, you know, you'll get a couple that'll say, well, why don't you just list it? Seller didn't want to list it. They'd like a private, easy sale. We've made that happen for them. Our business model is bringing inventory to the market. Yes, we understand if you have a client that's interested, we got to figure out how to get your 2.5%, 3% added, which I have mechanisms and methods to do that. But first and foremost, just see if you had somebody that might be interested. I can work through the paperwork details of how this would work. Okay? So you just got to get a little bit of a thick skin. Okay.
Yeah, no.
And you know, your first few weeks of calling people for off-market, you know, you got the same thing. Everybody's going to shit all over you and tell you it sucks, it's overpriced, it should be this, it should be that. And you're also pitching right now into probably one of the coldest real estate markets in 30 years.
Yeah.
So, you know, you got to just roll with it.
Honestly, yeah, I feel like when I first started here, it was really hard to get comfortable on the phone and to have a thick skin and to, you know, just keep the conversation going. But after a few months' time, I'm a lot more comfortable, and I know that it's not for everyone. It doesn't bother me if somebody doesn't want it or if somebody has something to say. Yeah. It's not for them.
Well, and
they're missing out on a good deal, and that's on them.
And you know, this is what I've always said. You're going to have all these calls, and 9 out of 10 people are going to tell you why it doesn't work. Or maybe even 98 out of 100. But if you're actively involved in purchasing, selling, and trading 100 properties a year, you must be doing something right.
Right.
Meaning, you're finding that 1 or 2 people out of 100 that finds value in what you're doing. If you were a broker and you sold 100 houses a year, I'd be like, shit, her team knows what they're doing. She's got a team. You would have to have a team to sell 100 houses.
Yeah, absolutely.
You'd have your research person, your contract person, your sales and marketing person, your staging person, your photography and videographer person who takes all your money, right? You'd have your team. It's no different from a broker who sells 100 properties a year. You'll have a team, but the reality is you're doing something right in your model or you wouldn't be selling 100 properties a year.
Right.
So some people get, in same way with lead acquisition. People go through the old leads and people give them shit. Sellers will give them shit. And it's like, okay, I get it, but now the whole world has converted. And what did I just see? $100 billion class action suit against brokers? What was the judgment last week, Will? Did you see it?
Oh, I didn't see that one.
Yeah, 80 billion? Some ridiculous class action lawsuit won 100, I don't know, was it 100 million or a billion? Because the brokers were colluding to keep their commissions high.
Those were the buying broker side, right? I think
it was the buying broker. Yeah, it was a class action. But the moral of my story is with technology and the ability to sell properties direct, the brokerage commission is kind of that last big commission out there for sales. And, they try really hard to keep it that way. And so that's where a lot of the pushback is. All the people we're talking to are getting constantly contact to sell their property.
Right.
And so they literally get contact fatigue, and that's where they tend to be rude sometimes.
Yep, so that's understandable.
Okay. So I really want you to focus on, where was I going with this? There's one more point where it was. Okay, if you're talking to lots of people about this, here's how it works quickly. So you were a broker, and they'd be like, Janelle, that's great. Look, I have an off-market property. It's in Redmond. It's $200K under probably what it would get listed for if it was cleaned up and staged. Seller wanted an easy deal. Didn't want to list it. Didn't want to, do all the stuff that a traditional broker is going to make them do, which is declutter it, paint it, pull everything out, move out of the house basically to sell their house. They factored all that into broker commissions and doing all that to the price direct to us. And so they are currently living there. I have limited access. They are older, so we're probably only going to get in once or twice. How I do this is when I have an access appointment, I can invite everybody. There will be a cattle call of brokers and people there. If your client is interested in getting to the front of the line, I could get them the paperwork now if they're really interested, so they could have a first right to purchase it subject to getting in. At times we've had people say, I don't even need to get in, I'll buy it.
Okay.
So I know in traditional real estate, it's like, well, I got to see the property and I got to go see it first before. That doesn't work in off market. We only have 1 or 2 access points. And I will tell you, most people in this type of purchase make their decision right then and commit right then once they get inside.
Okay.
Now, I know that seems like really high expectations to get a client to accept, but we do it every day. So if you have somebody in that neighborhood that's been looking for a property like this, just waiting, that would be one you might show them. I wish I had pictures right now. I don't have pictures yet because we haven't even been inside of it yet. And as weird as it sounds, sometimes we close on properties we've never even been in.
Yep. Okay.
So with that being said, I'd love to work with you if you have a client interested in buying the property. Boom.
Boom.
See? Okay. Got that, Will?
Yes, sir.
You haven't talked live to brokers.
No.
No. It's fun.
Done work for brokers, but never,
It depends on the
never
broker.
actually dealt with them.
Some of them.
I will say, and again, I'm not picking on the brokerage. There are brokerages that are favorable to this, and there are brokerages that are unfavorable.
Yeah.
And, it's like religion. There's some that have a religion, and no matter what, you can't change your religion. Generally speaking, the off-brand or the more independent brokerages where you just simply pay a desk fee, they don't care. They're called builder, investor, flipper, friendly brokerages. They're just more about deal making than they are, oh, it has to be this way. And so kind of, that's the challenge. And what I'm trying to teach, and you know, whether you're doing acquisition and sales for us and being on our team, or whether we're teaching you to be a wholesaler on your own, all of it is very repeatable process. Now, the intricacy or the hard part about it is teaching you the nuances of each seller and each property and what's going on. And that's really the one-on-one coaching that leads to success. Anybody can look at the videos and read the material how to go do this. But how do you actually translate that opportunity into either an equity position, purchase it yourself, or an assignment check?
Yeah, you have to see it firsthand.
There's no shortcut. And that's what this program is designed to do, is to live train, do exactly the work. This isn't just a program where you're going to go study and take tests. Fuck that. Maybe there's a test, but you know, the reality is, I want to see you logged in. I want to see you calling. I want to see you talking to people. I want you coming to me going, this is what they want. This is who they are. Can we do this? Can we do that? And then we push it forward.
Okay.
And there's no shortcut. Gals that succeeded this, they work it, because you know, the fun part about real estate is if you're selling a $500,000, $1 million, or $5 million asset, the value that you create for yourself is a big number. Now, how you get somebody to pay you that big number is what I teach.
Yeah, no one's gonna want to pay if you don't have any value.
You got to be bringing value to the table.
Always.
It's how can we help? And it takes a lot of time, money, and energy to go get these deals.
Yeah.
So, all right, keep going.